You're tuned into No Good Music. And now, here are your hosts, Rob and Sam.
Hey everybody, welcome to No Good Music. I'm with Sam all the way from Ann Arbor. And we're doing a special podcast today because, of course, yesterday was no good. Not no good. What am I talking about? Yesterday was No Good Music Day. Oh, yeah. Record Store Day.
The Record Store Day. April 18th.
Yes. And today is the 19th. So we're going to, this is going to be unedited. So, Sam, you drop F-bombs. I'm going to have to mark this explicit. And
I usually don't go blue on this podcast.
Oh, shit. It's just that shit. Okay.
I don't swear. My children might be listening. No, they're not listening.
Neither one of us slept on a sidewalk Friday night.
Nope. And
there's a record store that I go to in Easton, Pennsylvania, and called Spin Me Round. But I think it's been a couple years. Maybe it was last year. I got there. I didn't get there real early, but I got there in the morning. And there was still a line. It wasn't too bad. But I figure, for me personally, with the cost of what the albums cost now, I'm not going there like with 10 albums in mind. That would be like three.
Yeah, it's just cost prohibitive. Yeah. And I've done that, and it's just like, oh my God, why did I spend all this money?
So I actually went there. I got there at 4:00. And
what time the store open?
Probably 8 or 9.
Okay,
maybe 9. There was only one album I was, looking for, and I ended up buying 2 albums. And this was probably the first time I didn't look at a list. There's over, what was there, like 350 albums, something like that this time.
There was a lot, and it seemed like this year, like. First couple record store days were great because it was just like this new thing and there's like all this cool stuff coming out. And then for a while, it kind of, at least to me, it kind of seemed like, oh man, are we running out of cool stuff to put out? It's probably just me. I just didn't like some of the titles. But this last couple record store days have had some good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now, how many are there? Are there more than? There's at least 2 a year? Are there? I want to think there's like 3 or 4, but maybe it just seems like that.
I don't remember it being this time of year. I always thought it was Thanksgiving, and there's one. I guess, these 2.
Okay.
Apparently, if you're listening, we are not the Record Store Day experts.
No. Yeah, and it's been around for a while. Now I've been collecting records, again, not the first time, when I was a kid. That was a long time ago. But probably a good 10 years whenever, vinyl started to come back. And I probably went to some of the first record store days. I know the first ones they had, they would have bands play. And the store I go to in Easton, if I went there in the morning, last time they had some guy, and I hate to say it, I'm not going to say his name. I forget his name. But he was in the corner playing guitar, really, had an amp. And it was kind of distracting. He should have been outside. So anyway, let's talk about the albums we got. I don't know if
let's just back up for a second. Yeah. Record Store Day started in 2008. Okay.
Okay, there you go.
And it is twice a year. It's Black Friday, and then the OG one is the one that happens in April. That's the original one.
Good Friday. Is that Good Friday? Black Friday?
Black Friday. Formerly called Black Friday RSD.
Oh, Black
in
Friday. Yeah,
November.
before the holiday season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So which
okay.
makes sense, right? So
But there is a Good Friday, and before Easter.
yeah, thanks, Rob. Appreciate that.
What?
There's also
Oh.
Memorial Day. There's Christmas. There's Hanukkah.
No, I'm saying it'd be cool if when they have it Black Friday, it should have it Good Friday.
I noticed.
That's all I'm saying.
So I will often go to the record store a few days after record store day, and I will
Mhm.
notice that all the things I bought they still have. So I don't get anything anybody really wants.
Yeah, I'm like the same. Like, I think probably I haven't been to many, but I've been. I think the last time I went, like the day after, and whatever I wanted was not there. They didn't have it, and I was disappointed. But I forget now what it was. And then as soon, even in the morning, as soon as people start buying stuff, it's on eBay.
Oh yeah.
And that's what sucks. You have a lot of flippers, and they don't like want to make like $10 on an album. Like the one album I got is more than double on eBay now.
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah. So, and then before we
tell us what you got.
Okay. So the one I went to get and wanted was Marshall Crenshaw.
Oh yeah.
And I did post his picture on Facebook. But
yes. Have you listened to it?
yes.
Can you give us a quick synopsis? Because we talk about my brother whose birthday's coming up, actually, 23rd.
So are you a Marshall Crenshaw?
Thanks to my brother, I am, and I have seen him live a few times. And he's from the suburbs of Detroit, lives in New York now, but he's a really neat guy.
Yeah, he lives in Rhinebeck, which I've been to like 3 times. I haven't run into him.
Yeah, maybe we talked about this.
Yeah.
But so
I've met him a
what
couple
is this?
times
Is this demos? What is it?
Yeah, these are outtakes. These are unreleased recordings. But some are songs that were on albums, but mainly these two this is one of my favorites, Downtown.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So mainly this one, there's a lot from Downtown. And then this one, which a lot of people may not know, Mary Jean and 9 others.
I remember when that came out. That was my introduction to Marshall Crenshaw.
Yeah, and there's only a couple from that one. And then there are some live, cover songs. I think it's a great, complete album, except, when you go back, first of all, and he goes into, I love on the back, he goes into it, a really good description of finding the tapes, restoring the tapes, having to bake the tapes, which they actually bake, I found out. And, these are from mainly, we have 84 to 87, so that time period.
How's the sound quality? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
The one song, what?
So the one song I was very, I'd never heard it before. It's track 3, All I Ever Wanted, and it says excerpt. Now, this song was recorded and not put on an album, and it was produced by Steve Lillywhite. And it's Kirsty MacColl and Marshall Crenshaw, and she wrote the lyrics, he wrote the music. And I thought, so you get to the 3rd song, and I didn't read, who was on each song before I started playing it. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened to the speed of my album? And it's Kirsty MacColl. She starts, it starts with her singing, in her Irish dialect.
Who is she? Refresh my memory. Who is she?
Kirsty MacColl was a singer with the Pogues.
Oh.
Most notably Fairy Tale of New York, which I love. Yeah. Like holiday. It's become a holiday song now.
Yes.
And tragically, I think we talked about her, tragically killed.
Yeah,
we won't go into that, but so that I love that song. Then you got That'll Be the Day, and he recruited. This is not live. This is in the studio. That'll Be the Day with Max.
Buddy Holly's version.
Yeah, because Marshall is big into the like 50s or 60s, the
And he played
rockabilly.
Buddy Holly in the La Bamba movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you got Max Weinberg and Gary Talent, two people from the E Street Band on that one, and they're on they're on that one. One song I love, my favorite song, it's become my favorite song, is Little Wild One. It's off of Downtown.
Okay.
And I was a little disappointed because this is an instrumental of that song.
Oh, well, it's for you to sing along to.
Yeah. But I think it's a good, there's basically 13 songs and two weird, like, you know, when you find old tapes and you're like, it's not a song, but it's, the one is called, what's it called? Vocal Test. So it's just singing, like it's not a song. It's just, and it's only like 30 seconds. But the one I think should have been left off this album, it's called Sin Sonics Go Berserko. And it's weird sound, keyboard and drums and just awful. And it's only like luckily 20 seconds or so. But
Filler.
Yeah, filler.
You know, do you know that Marshall Crenshaw record number 447? It's one he put out in like 99.
Yeah, I have the remastered one.
It's like my favorite of his.
Yeah.
For something that the songs on that are so good.
Mm-hmm. That's when we interviewed Marshall when that one was remastered.
You interviewed him?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to listen to that.
Before my time. I got to go back in the archives. All right, what else did you get?
And one last, I've met Marshall actually 3 times and interviewed him. And the two out of 3 times I got him to sign something. I had to track him down. The one time he was heading towards the parking lot to his car. And
Excuse me, Mr. Crenshaw.
The first album. Well,
Mr.
that's
Crenshaw?
just when he's playing with the Smithereens.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My other one.
Okay, so when you interviewed him, to me, he seems like a really nice guy. Is he?
Yes. He was so laid back. He was, I don't know, he was eating gummy bears or something. He was just.
Or the
he was
THC.
He was very low key. I don't think there's many interviews out there with him. I think he's just one of those.
So you got one of the rare ones, huh?
And then when I talked to Jim Babjack, you know, I don't know if he probably doesn't mind me saying this, but backstage, Marshall kind of keeps to himself, you know, before the show. But maybe he's, you know, a lot of people don't want any outside things going on before they go on stage.
Here's the thing. If you're going to go and perform, like, I think you want to like get in the zone a little bit sometimes. Yeah. Like, you know, think about, you know, like, give me a break. You don't want all that chatter.
It's like before you go to bed at night, I don't like having, you know, intense conversations with my wife or anything.
We have a disco party before we go to bed, but we're a little different. So anyway, I'm just kidding.
So this one, so like I said, I went in not knowing what was going to be there. But because of the price, I'm like, I got the Marshall one. They had like 4 of them there. And then this one, Joan Jett, who I've always loved.
Yes.
And this is the one, it was $25.98. And it's like $59 on eBay. I listen to one side of this and it sounds great because a lot of this live stuff, it depends on how it was recorded. If it was off the soundboard or if they record it on, you know, a V8, you know, an 8mm or what do you call it, high 8 or, you know, and then transferred it and all that. So this is live from 81, and this is actually a New Year's Eve show.
Oh.
Live at the Ritz. And it's funny because the 2 albums I bought, the last 2 songs on the Marshall Crenshaw are actually at the Ritz. And from August 87, the Marshall Crenshaw, yes, the last 2 songs were recorded at the Ritz. Isn't that So this album came out a couple months after her first, well, not her first solo, but I Love Rock and Roll, right? It was November of 81. But the song, none of the singles like I Love Rock and Roll didn't come out till January. So when people heard I Love Rock and Roll, they might not even had that album, or maybe they did, but it wasn't a single yet. So,
oh, that's cool.
So it was probably one of the first performances of that song. Now this comes with I was a little disappointed. This comes with a ticket, a reproduction.
Oh.
But as a printer, and I'm not putting down my own print, company, but I could have printed this because it's on a paper that I have, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, well,
they did this on a copier.
They're in the 1%.
Yeah.
You're in the 1%.
They could have called me and I could have
known the difference.
I could have gotten a really good job printing this.
Yeah.
So those are the two I got. Yeah. And I got one last thing is I picked up, I don't have it right here. I'm a big Linda Ronstadt fan. So
yes, love early Linda Ronstadt.
I found the first album, it's the first album. It's supposedly her first solo album, but it's the first album where they had her name on the album cover. And it was Linda Ronstadt and the Stone Ponies and Friends, Volume 3. That was her first.
I love that.
And I have every album. I'm getting them in order up to probably almost the 90s. I'm missing like 10 albums. But that was the one I was missing, the first one. Like I have the second, the third, the fourth, all those. So it was just there. It was staring at me like it was in the front, in the used, and it was $25. But
I'll go through and see what I have. If I'm missing any of or if I have any of the ones you're missing, I'll send them to you.
Okay. So what did you get?
So it's in a maybe not eclectic mix. It's an okay mix. I got this Primal Scream. It features two of 1987's EPs, Gentle Tuesday and Imperial. So it's like the earlier Primal Scream,
Okay.
I don't know if you're a fan or not.
I'm not familiar with. I
saw them live, and it was like the loudest show I've ever seen. That's what I remember. They had that hit "Moving On Up" or whatever.
The Jeffersons theme,
I forget which. They've covered a lot of genres in what they did.
Mm-hmm.
This is not RSD. This is the Johnny Blue Skies record, though. That's Sturgill Simpson. The one he just put out.
Okay.
Sound quality terrible. Not an RSD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't like the.
Wait, that was a record store?
No, it wasn't. It just happened.
Oh.
I grabbed it by accident.
Oh, okay.
There's the 50th anniversary of The Who, a quick one.
Okay.
So the cool thing is this has disc 2, which has the Batman
theme.
They do the Batman theme.
Wow.
They do a song called Bucket Tea. They do Barbara Ann.
The Smithereens would work that into their set, the Batman theme. Pat was a big Batman fan. TV show, movies. Everything.
Oh, yeah. Doctor, Substitute, the UK single version. Mm-hmm. Circles, the second version. I'm a Boy single version. I've Been Away in the City. Happy Jack acoustic version. Man with Money. My Generation. Land of Hope and Glory outtake. Substitute US single version. I'm a Boy alternate version. Batman instrumental version. And Happy Jack single version. My buddy one of my friends that works at the store was playing this, and I was like, wow, this is good. I got to get this. So I got it.
Now is the Batman theme, is it Who-esque? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
That's good.
I always liked my Americana, my earlier Americana guys like Sunvolt, Sound Signal Serenades.
I have to. I think you mentioned him in one of the podcasts.
So this is just a new record. I think it's an RSD first. Where it just comes out on RSD.
Now he passed away, right?
No. Jay Farrar is still alive.
Okay.
So Jay Farrar and Jeff Tweedy had Uncle Tupelo.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they split off into Sunvolt and Wilco.
Mm-hmm.
It says new album from Sunvolt, limited to 3,000 copies of sky blue colored vinyl. I haven't opened it yet.
You got to open like them and listen to them.
I just haven't had time, man. The Jayhawks. This is 2 meter sessions, never before released recordings, first time on vinyl.
I know Intimate the Jayhawks.
Alternate performances.
You think I know the Jayhawks from your brother, but I know the Jayhawks from this friend. His name is Frank Lima. He is a huge Kinks fan, and I think they did something with Ray Davies, and then he started mentioning that band. Yeah.
So the 2 meter sessions is a Dutch radio and television program.
Okay.
So this features recordings from their sessions in 97 and 2000, capturing the band at 2 distinct and inspiring moments in their journey. They're pioneers of the alt country and Americana. So it has, they do Big Star, the song of theirs, Sound of Lies, Somewhere in Ohio. These are some great sing-along Jayhawks. So I'm looking forward to listening to this someday when I have some time.
So I would have never, quick thing, I would have never heard of Big Star if it wasn't for your brother.
Big Star, one of my all-time favorites.
So the one day for some reason, I go on Wikipedia and I'm looking up Big Star, and, I think they only had like one album.
They had 3 albums.
Okay, 3 albums. And I think it was their first album. I look it up and I look down the list and I see this guy's name, Terry Manning, and he's one of the engineers.
Yeah, at Arden.
So with this is within an hour or two. I look up Terry Manning, and I'm like, oh my God, he worked at Stax Records when he was 16. He worked on Led Zeppelin 3. He worked on all the ZZ Top albums, right? So I look him up. He's got a website. He has an email on there. I email him. We would love to interview you. Within like 30 minutes, Terry Manning emails me. And then we set up the interview. And that's one of our... Terry unfortunately passed away last year. But we could have gone on 6 hours with him. He wasn't the first person. Was like a Forrest Gump, where they were just in a certain place at a certain time, anyway, so Terry Manning,
that's cool.
Helped with big. So one thing led to another, and I always think if Ken didn't mention Big Star, or I'd never heard of him, we'd never have that interview.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Where were we?
I got one other one that I purchased. 13th floor elevators.
I saw someone. Well, I was watching a video of a guy who was at Record Store Day, and he was going through some of the albums that came out, and I'd never heard of them before, but now that's the second time.
So, Psych Band. This is a 1968.
From the 60s, yeah.
Yep. Available for the first time, the original tracks without the crowd overdubs to be enjoyed in their full psychedelic splendor. So, they had a little bit of a revival. Rocky Erickson was the singer, and there's a documentary called, I think they had that one song, You're Gonna Miss Me. I think that's the name of the documentary, but it's a fascinating documentary. So like he had some mental illness and the documentarian or whatever that person is, the director. So they find him.
Yeah.
And they find that like his mother was pretty much keeping him drugged up.
Oh, really? Wow.
And, incapacitated.
Yeah.
And she herself was a little wacky.
Mm-hmm.
And they got him back. They petitioned the court or whatever it was. I'm not telling the story the right way, I'm sure. I'm just telling you what I remember. Mm-hmm. And they got him back somewhat normal, and he performed again a little bit, and then he passed away. But it is a phenomenal documentary to watch, folks. You got to check it out.
Well, that reminds a little bit of Searching for Sugarman,
Yes.
which I wouldn't have known unless it was, your brother.
My brother was quite obsessed with that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he
and I
was a
have the
Detroit
DVD.
guy.
I just loaned it to Matt because I'm like, you need to see this. I still want to do a podcast on that, but that's when you said that, the documentarian search for this guy, and that's reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And what is that? Is that documentary? Can you watch that on any of the streaming?
Yeah.
Or where did you watch? Or do you remember?
Probably, maybe.
Oh, did you watch it a while ago?
Yeah, I watched it years ago.
Okay.
So I imagine it's out.
Yeah, I'll look for that.
Non-RSD related, something else I also got recently is I really like the Rhino High Fidelity reissues.
Mm-hmm.
And they did this. I just got this week.
Tupelo.
Uncle Tupelo's
Yes.
their last record, Anodyne. Funny thing, my friend sent me this. It says includes exclusive insert with liner notes by Mark Deming. He's a local guy, and he posted a picture of this on his Facebook. He's like, he goes, for some reason they thought this would help sell records.
Yeah.
His commentary. So
actually, I don't know if you can see it, but one of the albums back here, the Monkeys, you can see it. That's a Rhino release, like a remaster.
They're high fidelity reissue. That's my chair, not my butt.
It might be on green vinyl or something like that.
Last plug, I know this is RSD, but I just got this book about Gary Stewart. I'm from the Honky Tonks. I think you and I briefly talked about it.
Yeah.
So another guy I follow on Instagram who's a vintage guitar dealer or something, he was with picture him with the author.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to read about this guy. He's like Outlaw Country, first records 1975. I'm about 30 pages into the book and it's jaw dropping. Like,
wow. Yeah.
Reminds me of Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Like his whole family was crazy. And like, this will be a fun one to talk about.
Oh yeah. West Virginia. My wife and I just watched, I think we've seen it before, a documentary on this inbred family.
The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's the one.
The guy takes them to Walmart. I don't think they've been out of the house in a while.
Oh, maybe it's a different one, but you have to, there's the Wild and Wonderful Whites, which is just fascinating. I mean, there was a bunch of other really cool stuff. I mean, there was Captain Beefheart, Lick My Decals Off, Baby. I mean, there's Brandy Carlisle.
It's weird. You mentioned Captain Beefheart. For some reason, I watched this guy, his name's Derek Higgins. He's been doing video for 10 years or more. And he's turned me on to he's into a lot of psychedelic music and just off the beaten track. He's not reviewing Sabrina Carpenter or anything. But he mentioned, he was talking about Frank Zappa and Captain Beefheart. And this was literally a couple days ago. I'm like, I really have never really listened to Captain Beefheart. And I actually put him on shuffle. So you just mentioning him.
Oh.
And I like, some of his, he's not as strange as Frank Zappa, but I always likes Frank Zappa too.
It depends on where you went down the rabbit hole. Like there's Trout Mask Replica, which is incredibly strange. And then there's the first record, which is more like blues, but it gets pretty far out there. Yeah.
I think a couple songs off the one album were pretty like, not mainstream, but
accessible.
And then one or two came up that were I probably had to like go to the next song. I just want to real quick show. I did get some other stuff, and this was at the flea market. Hold on a minute.
The flea market. While Rob's looking, we should say bad things about him because you can't hear me right now. But we won't because I like him. And he's going to be back on in a second.
Okay. And I know our listeners can't see, but just for you, this is the Linda Ronstadt.
That's her first record?
Yeah.
Okay. So very cool.
Now, before... Well, I met Matt at his house. Matt, his co-host, the podcast. And
one of the hosts. Yes.
We went to this flea market. It's like 30 minutes from his house. And met my friend Mark, who I hadn't seen in a couple of years, which was good. And Mark, I've known since kindergarten, believe it or not. There's like 3 or 4 of us that we've never lost contact with each other, over the years. And so anyway, we went to this flea market I've never been to before. And I forget the name of it. But anyway, so this guy had these Elvis albums. He starts telling us he went to this auction and he got all these Elvis albums. It was probably an estate sale or it could have been a record store that closed. I'm not sure. But he shouldn't have told us. He's like, yeah, I got like 100 albums for like $20 because nobody wanted them. And this girl was standing next to me with her boyfriend, and she was looking through them, so I had to wait until she was done because I'm like, because the only thing I'm missing are the soundtracks. I have all the studio. But
I have a bunch of those.
And probably nobody wants them but me. But these are in pristine condition.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've seen where they look like they were chewed by a rat or something.
Yeah, because people played the crap out of them.
Yeah. So he also said, because I think, it was starting to get in the afternoon. Flea markets, they're pretty much done. People get there at 4 in the morning. And he's like, everything's half price. And I said, including the Elvis. He's like, yeah, including the Elvis. So this was $5.
It looks clean as. If you looked them up, how much they sell for on Discogs, they got to be expensive.
Well, this was listed as 10. This goes for like 20, 25.
I bet in that condition more.
Yeah, so I got it for $5. And this one was $7.50.
Wow.
And girls. This was $10.
Those are pristine.
Yeah, and the albums look good too.
Wow, that's a score.
And then I happen to I looked this one up, and I collect Olivia Newton-John albums, but again, I don't have her first. So this is weird. In one day, I get Linda Ronstadt's first album, and then Olivia Newton-John. This is a remaster, right?
Wow.
But this goes for, it's sealed. It goes for like $20, $25, $12 he had on it.
Score.
And then he had 2 of them. He's like, I've got 2 of them. I'm like, I guess I could have bought it and tried to sell it.
And who knows how many other great things you passed up, Rob.
I can't buy everything. I'm almost up to 700 albums. You're probably up to like 7,000, maybe.
Probably. It's an albatross.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Great scores.
So I don't know if you had anything else.
No, I went through my recent haul. There's probably something I can't think about because I'm way too tired.
I mean, I have bought some other new ones. I've got, you can see back here, Wet Leg.
I saw that. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, so do I. I have to
Chase Lounge, I'm a Chase Lounge, I'm a Chase Lounge, I'm a Chase Lounge, I'm a Chase Lounge.
I think it's on a Chase Lounge, not I'm a Chase.
On a Chase Lounge. Allman Brothers?
Yeah, $15.
Nice.
Of course, it only has 6 songs on it. We got these I bought recently. BB King. Big BB King. This was $6.
Those all look like in really nice condition.
The thing is, I'll go over to my friend Tim's house. He lives in Easton, and the record store is nearby. Like Tim is literally I don't know, 5 minutes from there. So I'll go over to his house maybe once a month just to smoke a cigar and have some whiskey or something, and on a Friday, and
do something.
But I'll make
healthy.
sure I go to record store first.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was trying to limit myself to 1 album a month.
How's that going?
Not good.
I can tell.
My pile
you spent the whole year.
Yeah, I can't buy anymore now.
Oh,
and I got a sign. One last thing. I got a tin sign. When you go to flea market, you got to come home with a sign.
Yeah, usually it's kind of, I thought there was kind of an unwritten rule.
And I don't have it here because I just hung it up in the garage. My wife doesn't know. She'll just see it. But it's an old Coca-Cola, and it says yes. There's a girl in a bathing suit. And it's a reproduction, but it was, the woman wanted $15. But, I thought it was Marilyn Monroe. I thought it was when she was Norma Jean. This girl looks just like her. The woman she didn't know, right? I went down the rabbit hole and I actually found out that this girl was married to Dick York. I forget what her name is now. Dick York from Bewitched.
Oh, okay.
It was his wife when she was like 15. But she's fully clothed. Okay, there's nothing,
yeah, usually Coca-Cola doesn't go blue.
But I liked it. And so I got that, but I didn't buy anything else. My friend Mark bought some plants. They had tomato plants, and it's too early for me to plant stuff. And then they had a lot of junk. It's like people clean out their houses or relatives who have passed away, and it's literally rusted. Trying to think of what the one thing I saw was all rusted and like should be in the garbage. Yes, sir. How much for that? 50 cents. $15. So I think that does it. And so much for this month. I was only going to put out a couple podcasts. I already put out like 2 interviews. I got one more interview coming out with Space Freely. Check out Space Freely.
Okay.
He's a Ace Frehley tribute. He has a tribute band. No.
It's good.
At first, people thought he was making fun of Ace because he's got a wig on and he kind of talks like him sometimes and laughs like him. And he's been a Kiss fan since he was like 12.
Okay.
And he knows note for note the guitar solos. And he's starting to do shows. He's been doing shows. He's only been doing this for like a year or so. He said, I never thought I'd be doing an Ace Frehley tribute, even though I'm like a big Kiss fan. But he knows all the songs. And he's got the guitar that smokes. And actually, I'm going to put out a video next week of his guitars so you can actually see some of the guitars. Anyway.
Very nice.
So thanks for listening, everybody.
This was fun. Yeah. Impromptu, fun, RSD, and more show.
Thank you, Sam. And
thank you, Rob.
Remember, turn off the TV.
And turn up the music.
Well, thanks, Sam.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure to see you, Rob.
You've been listening to No Good Music, intro and exit music by the band 99%. Today's episode was recorded live and slightly edited for your listening enjoyment at the Did You Say 7 Studios in Washington, New Jersey. You can find No Good Music on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, our host site Podbean, and mostly anywhere you listen to podcasts. Be sure to follow our Facebook and Instagram pages. And as always, thank you for listening.
Holy moly.